Ready to go? Ready to go? All right, everyone. Hey, back with another episode of D'ART Shtajio's vlog episode. I lost track of the numbers, so yeah.
Please check the number in the beginning of the vlog.
I am Henry Thurlow.
I'm Arthell Isom.
All right, and we are D'ART Shtajio.
D'ART Shtajio.
D'ART Shtajio. So okay, all right. Today's topic. Ready for it? Ready for it? Let's jump into it. Let's do this one. I think this has been a long time coming. Let's see where this goes.
Kind of interesting.
All right. What are the races of anime characters?
And I think that's an interesting topic just because everyone is always on Twitter arguing about, well, this character is this way and these guys are appropriating and Hollywood is doing this. But it's like, well,
are the anime characters insert any race, right? Because are they all Japanese? Well, I mean,
right.
like Full Metal Alchemist characters, they're all speaking Japanese. To be honest, I think, well, see, we even disagree with this. I think they have Japanese features, even when they have other white features. I think it's just part of the drawing style. But so do I think like the main characters, Ed and Al from Full Metal Alchemist, have the same certain Japanese aspects that other anime characters have? Yes, yet at the same time they are blonde and named Ed and Al. So what are they, right? Are they just white then? Well, I mean...
Yeah, and then it's like... Because then you got other characters that are throughout the story who they might have like darker skin or something, but then they have like Japanese names, or they even have European names.
That's another one that I think we're going to spend some time talking about. I see a lot of these lists like, what's your favorite black anime character? And I think, obviously, we both think there needs to be more representation and You know, I think even the representation vlog can be in a different one because that's opinion about whether it's good or bad, right? When to add it, where to add it, etc. What the benefits of it are, etc. We're not talking about that at the moment. But when I see some of the lists of like, these are my favorite black anime characters, well, they're definitely not white because they have dark skin for sure. But are they really black?
Are they class? Can you? Because then it's like, how do you classify a character as being black or any culture, right? Like, it's like, okay. Although, like with Lupin, I think they do a pretty good job of making him French, right? Like the world that Lupin exists in.
Certain characters are very clearly something or other. And I think even in the plot, they reveal maybe real world, like, places of origin, right? This is an American character. Fist of the North Star, way back when, then it was like a ridiculous caricature. There's one character in Fist of the North Star 2. I forget what his name is, but he's like the American guy, and like he's got like American flag like vest or whatever. But obviously, I don't know where Fist of the North Star is located exactly. Are they walking around the ruins of Japan or Europe, or I don't know where they are. I mean, Kenshiro is clearly of Japanese descent, right? And then this guy is clearly of American descent, or white, but. So sometimes it's clear, but other times it's really not. So, like my one go-to example, everyone, well, not everyone probably, but for all intents and purposes, everyone loves One Piece. I love One Piece. One Piece is awesome. One Piece has, you know, your studio has like assisted in massive One Piece production.
One Piece.
So One Piece clearly has lots of different races in its world, right? They've set up fantasy races, they've set up white races, they've set up not white races, Asian-inspired races, etc., right? They're currently in a country that they're not Japanese people, they're Wano people, but it's very clearly like this is a country of Japan. For the last like 2 years, they've been in Wano. It's not a spoiler at all. But so... Aokiji. I love Aokiji. He's a really cool character. I think I've seen him on people's lists of like favorite black characters, right? And I always did think he was black. I mean, he clearly has dark skin. The different, I don't know, just like the outfits they put him in different movies and things. Like you just get the feeling like he's black and of black culture, right? his hair appears nappy, as does Usopp, one of the main characters. So you're like, oh, okay, that's a black character. Now, maybe he is, right? Because One Piece is a fantasy world, and in this fantasy world, he's a black character. But if you see the influence, I'm going to get the guy's name. So the creator of One Piece said that the inspiration for Aokiji, I guess, was a Japanese actor named Yusaku Matsuda. So if you Google him, all of a sudden a guy comes up and he's a Japanese guy with a little bit darker skin and that kind of hair, and you're like, oh no, maybe Aokiji's not black. He's a Japanese guy with some kind of dark skin. We've been wrong the whole time.
And that's kind of interesting because like he's on the list of like the black characters, but he's obviously not black, right? He's just a Japanese character, and I think because that kind of gray area is also what makes it that he's not black character, right? Because if it's like, well, because like his like, you know, the everything that means his whole character makeup wasn't based off of him being this, but his skin color just is. So then it's like, well, then that really wouldn't make him a black character or any other character, right? Like, or any other cultured character. Just because, like, because that is...
I could ramble off so many, though, like Casca from Berserk. Casca, she's clearly not white, but...
So I guess, but she's supposed to be, like, Latin descent or something, or I don't know.
Well, see, you just made that up because it's a fantasy world, right? It's the land of Midgard, right? So it's not real. So I mean, it could realistically be a person of dark-skinned Asian descent. It could be, I hate to say it, a white person that's really tan. You know, so it's kind of hard.
That's interesting, I think, because then it's like, which is kind of why we're saying, like, what race are the characters? Because I do think, well, some of the manga creators, maybe they really do think about the race of their characters, right? Like the world that they're setting up. But a lot of anime obviously takes place in just make-believe worlds, you know, where it's like the characters just have crazy hair and crazy skin color, you know, and then there just happens to be like a lack of minority characters. but you know, the creators haven't really, they haven't really sat down and just like, oh, I'm going to make a German guy or something, unless it's that anime. What's that chick's name? The little girl. And she's like in like Nazi Germany. Have you watched that? It's like this little character.
Gunslinger Girl, maybe? I don't think so. I don't think that was based in Germany.
She's I don't remember what's her name. Something the Terrible or something like that.
Oh, Tanya the something or other. I didn't watch that one. I'm familiar with the character.
Movie.
She's German.
It's like they're the German side, and like they're fighting the.
Well, again, there are certain anime that make it clear that are actually located in the real world, like most of like Ghost in the Shell, like or at very least maybe not.
Or like a real inspired world, because even Ghost in the Shell, I guess it's not even real.
Well, it is Tokyo though, right? It is. But I was gonna say Mamoru Oshii's stuff like Pat Labor, characters in Pat Labor are pretty, you know, especially the films are pretty clearly labeled like this is a Japanese person, this is a person of whatever descent, this is a white person from Europe that's coming.
I think Mamoru Oshii stuff is very realistic.
Super realistic,
so, so most of his characters really are like, okay, these characters are European, these characters are Japanese, and it's just that's how they are. But
so here's what. So here's where we disagree. Just to throw this in to make it fun. Are the characters Japanese or white? Because I think I'm not putting words in your mouth. You've said like you think a lot of them are white. Why are there so many white characters? But I don't view them as white characters, and I never have.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, yeah, because I think that they're obviously not Japanese, right? Because
Go ahead, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, the reason why I think they're not Japanese is because they don't have Japanese features, right? And then, like, with Sora, you can kind of go past that and, you know, like everything. Well, now people are changing, but, like, since when you think about the time that anime was, you know, made, like, or a lot of the series that we're kind of referring to started, and when those mangas came out, you know, they didn't look like the people of the time, you know, although, and I guess if you go to the 80s, of course, like, you know, Japan had, like, 80s influences that was coming into Japan, like, 80s wear, 80s rock, and stuff like that, and then it's the same, like, you know, when you go to 90s, same thing, 90s influence coming through, some of these influences coming through, and on and on and on. But like all the character, but at that time, if you just think about just what the people wore even at that time in Japan, like the characters weren't all wearing like Japanese gear and stuff like that. They were very obviously wearing Western clothing, and and then just Western look, right? Like the way that all the characters just look, they look very Westernized. But that could be just because, I don't know, like what do you?
I think that's the influence of the art style. So obviously, and I think when we've had this discussion, we kind of settled at like, okay, maybe they are Japanese, but the character designs were based off of Western designs, right? And so there is like white character design thinking that went into them, and maybe that's like the middle point. But because what's the godfather of manga? Osamu Tezuka. Osamu Tezuka. So he was massively influenced by Disney stuff, right? Especially like Bambi. If you look at the skunk's ears, right, or eyes in Bambi, like those are like Astro Boy's eyes, essentially, right? So but that's not any specific feature. I don't feel that's making the eyes the main focal point, right? Like let all the expressions sit in the eyes, and that's even an aspect that I've heard from Japanese people in their art here.
This we'll take the kind of topic a little bit off because we don't want to go, but like too much. But like you know how people say like self-hate and something like right, because it's like Japan felt that bigger eyes just felt more innocent and like and emotional things, but because then that would just be like saying Japanese people can't express emotion with their face.
I'm
like
not.
You can have small eyes.
So I would need proof, right? I feel like you should have the same standard though for that because could we interview people who are long dead now? Could we interview Osamu Tezuka and he says, "Oh yes, I would never draw." Japanese features. I was so ashamed or something, right?
Well, no, like, I'm not saying that they were ashamed. I'm saying that they chose blacks because they felt they were more expressive. But that's written, right? Like they felt that.
I think they just like. I think it's also definitely arguable that they just like the designs. Like that design was working really well, so it's like I want to utilize that design of big eyes, right? A lot of the people that probably didn't think it through very much go online and say the anime characters have big eyes because they're all white. That I think is too simplistic.
Oh yes, I don't know.
No, and I'm not saying you've ever said that, but like they have big eyes. I mean, obviously every creator would tell you a different reason why they wanted to design their characters the way they did, but the eyes are one of the most expressive parts of characters. Well,
that's Disney thing, though. That's the Disney logic, right?
Yes, but But I think in many types of design, like that's a focal point, right? And so and there are clearly characters that are Japanese. Like this is like they have the most Japanese name ever. They're Japanese schoolgirl or whatever. And they have the same big eyes as everyone else, right? So it is clear that those eyes are used for Japanese people.
Oh, well, that we're not debating, right? So that is true. Like obviously now, and then too. Well, I say more so now as well. Maybe I guess we'd have to kind of choose a time period where that just became the standard because, Tezuka he drew one way. Before Tezuka decided to adopt Disney's artistic. What do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for?
Aesthetics.
Aesthetics, yeah. Like before, he decided to anime kind of looked different. Like the other people drew them very differently.
Was anyone drawing almost anything back then? Well, I do know that this is a little bit after him, but like Leiji Matsumoto's stuff is really different. It would have been maybe cool if people were more influenced from him than Tezuka, because then it would be a very different anime industry.
Even like Otomo and all those guys, right? Like they drew. Or although I guess Otomo was kind of inspired from.
Yeah, even the first Gundam. You said Otomo? I thought you said Tomino, the Gundam guy. But both to be honest. Yeah.
Because you look at Otomo's original comics and stuff, and they don't have big eyes, right? Like Sayonara Japan and stuff like that. These characters are very realistic, and but it's like Sayonara Japan, and that's a crazy old book, but that looks like, the people look like. I think that takes place in the mix of New York and Japan or something like that. But the American characters look American. Like they got the black guy with the afro and things like that. And
there's only a handful of productions through the years that I think didn't stylize their characters in some unrealistic style, though, right? So Dragon Ball. Oh, we'll get into Dragon Ball in 1 second. I have stuff to say about that too. But like Dragon Ball looks very, and the eyes in Dragon Ball look very different from a lot of other Ranma or whatever, right? And then Kenshin and everything. But all of those are stylized not realistically. They're all these angular faces in different ways. But throughout the years, I mean, some people have obviously been super skilled at realism, and then their characters could have nuances. So like you know, Jinro, obviously the race in those characters.
Much later, but like,
right. But the Otomo stuff too. I would say he puts the nuance in there. Satoshi Kon to an extent.
But that's the thing that I think is interesting though, because like, so it's like, all right, so when did it become a real style, right? Where it's like, because I wonder, where it's like everyone was like, no, this is the aesthetic we're gonna go with. Like, who decided that? And then why?
I think it had to do with what's popular, to be honest. I think the answer is probably less exciting than we would hope, which is just like what became popular in different areas, and then people copied things. What I wanted to mention about Dragon Ball, though, is because when I see the like, look at the big eyes, like the you know, these characters are white posts, usually, very often, I'd say, it's got like Goku, right? Yeah. And then here's where we disagree, I don't know, but it's like Goku, to me, who is thinking Goku is white? Goku is not white. Like it's impossible. It's just crazy. Well, but okay, so obviously, yes, even in the story, as the story plays out, he's Saiyan, so he's an alien, right? But even before that, when you didn't know he was an alien, he's this like kid who's playing out what is it? A Journey West, the Chinese tale, right? He's like the Chinese character journeying west, and he's got black hair and all the features that, well, what is it? The Monkey King had, and that's Asian, at least, if not specifically Chinese. So like, never did I not think Goku is of Asian descent. Like. Who is thinking Goku is white? Goku is not white.
That's what I think. That's interesting because like of course the intent of the artist or the comic creator matters, right? Like, you know, so if they were inspired by Chinese tales, and then that's when they came with the story, then that's just that, right? Like, so that's like saying that Tezuka's what is that? What did they base Lion King off of?
Oh, Kimba,
right? So I guess like technically Lion King is like Japanese. But like, like, right, if you go with that logic, but I think that like so I don't know, like I do think that even though the creators are like they might take from something, right? Like, okay, this is what I'm going to use as my inspiration for it, right? So if we're using Chinese characters, but Goku, he doesn't look Chinese, like he's not. If you look through all the Chinese comic books and things like that, and like Chinese animation stuff, he doesn't look Chinese, right? And then, although I don't know, like that's kind of difficult. Because I think the only character who's no sweet Chinese was like the chick in Gintama. I can't remember her name now. She has the little buns.
Oh, with the orange hair.
Yeah.
We worked on Gintama.
Yeah, we worked on that. I can't remember the characters' names. But
well, no, there's been a bunch of Chinese characters too. There was even Chinese characters in Full Metal Alchemist too.
Yeah. And then like they're like noticeably, you know, because they're supposed to be Chinese characters. I think, I don't know. So the characters that are, because then I think it's like, okay, well, are you saying that the characters are people saying that the characters that are clearly from another planet and everything else, are they inspired by white features? Or are they drawn based off of white features or Caucasian features? That's why that makes them white. Or like, is their character in the story Caucasian or white? Because those are two different.
Yeah, like, it's so hard. Just thinking about it now, though, it's also so hard, and there's no like. And I think most creators want to keep it ambiguous. So just to go back to where this all started with One Piece, so this is a creator that obviously wants lots of races in their series, right? It's very clear that they're different races, and they look different and have different skin tones and act different ways and have different cultures. But since it's not the real world, there is no America, there is no white, black, Asian, right? It's like just a bunch of different things. So going back to the original thing, could Aokiji, the character I mentioned, be of the black people in that world? Like Nami, let's say, would be of the white people in that world. She has orange hair, so let's imagine she's Caucasian, right? But yet there is no black and there is no Caucasian.
But that's interesting, because then that brings us like another topic of like, can just because their character is colored this way, that says that they represent that thing? And
well, so I think that we would agree, absolutely not, if the series is based in the real world, right? And you're just being ambiguous, right? But if it's a fantasy world, maybe...
Yeah, I think because, like, for example, like Final Fantasy or something like that, right? Well, because that was like weird, because it's a fantasy world, but there's like very realistic characters, right? So,
well, in recent ones, if you in the last like 4 or 5 or so,
on, right? Like, or no, even further than 7. Cause, like,
because even through 9 they were fairly
right. Like,
you're talking about Barrett from 7.
Yeah. So,
I see what you mean though. Yeah.
So, like the fantasy anime, the anime where they are very just like, you know, everyone's just whatever race and it doesn't matter. I think that then that's just the case, right? Because it's not even the real world. I guess the fans argue about it, right? Like, hey, like, why are you dressed up like this or something? I don't know. Like, the character's not this, right? But like, I think that's weird because nothing has been determined. So, which means that like in Hollywood, if they wanted to make a movie, they can choose whoever the heck they want to play the character because they.
Oh, that's controversial. You try to stay away from controversy, but every now and then. Because like, and you're not even being controversial on the left. That's being controversial on the right, buddy.
But it's like if the race wasn't decided, right? So it's like then anybody can play the character technically, right? But then you have, I don't know.
Well, it is interesting. There's the live action. Obviously, the live action stuff in the West gets all the scrutiny, and probably rightfully so. At least a bunch of it. But then they make live action stuff in Japan. So there was the live action Full Metal Alchemist, which we talked about, and both the blonde haired Ed and Al are Japanese guys. Although ironically, that's kind of what I was saying. I viewed them as like Japanese features, but they happen to be named Ed and Al. So maybe that's the perfect adaptation. That maybe that is actually what anime characters are.
Japanese characters.
They are Japanese characters with otherwise completely Japanese features.
Yeah, and see, but that's kind of what I think, though, right? It's so weird because the characters really are just like they're Japanese personality and everything, unless they're crazy like stereotypes. But like, but they are just like Japanese in personality and lifestyle and culture. The only difference is that what their appearance is, like their physical attributes. Yeah. So, what that's like.
Tell us what you think in the comments and why we're wrong.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see.
All right, Shtajio Daiji. See you next time.
Peace.